So what is going to be next for Anthony Joshua? After his loss to Daniel Dubois on Saturday night, IFL TV, I believe it was them, got an interview with Eddie Hearn ringside, and during that interview, Eddie Hearn did reveal that Anthony Joshua apparently had a rematch clause against Daniel Dubois in his contract and said that he'd be surprised if AJ didn't activate that clause. Now, Frank Warren has since spoken out about this whole rematch situation. Does he have a rematch? Does he not? On TalkSport. Shout out to Michael Benson. This is where I'm getting my info from. But Michael Benson has tweeted, Frank Warren has insisted that Daniel Dubois does not have a guaranteed rematch clause in his contract to fight Anthony Joshua again next, even though AJ apparently does. But regardless, Frank Warren added that they would be open to discussing a second fight. Now, this is one thing I don't understand. Maybe this is normal in the world of boxing. You guys can let me know in the comments below. How can AJ have a rematch clause on his side of the contract, but Daniel Dubois doesn't? That to me doesn't make any sense whatsoever. How can one fighter have it, especially AJ, who wasn't the champion going into the fight? How can he have the option to have a rematch, but Daniel Dubois, who is the IBF champion, can't? Doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway, Daniel Dubois has since came out after the Anthony Joshua fight and spoke about the whole rematch situation and what he's looking to do next. So Daniel Dubois has declared that he would welcome a rematch versus Anthony Joshua next. He says, I want to do even better next time. I know what I need to improve on. I just want to prove people wrong all the time. Next time, I believe I'll be more clinical. That's insane that Daniel Dubois is saying that he wants to improve next time. Now, obviously, at points he did get hurt against Anthony Joshua, especially in that finishing sequence. He did get hurt with a couple right hands from AJ, but he essentially bulldozed Anthony Joshua in there. Like, he put it on Anthony Joshua. So for him to be like, I know what mistakes I made and I'm going to improve on them, that has to be a scary thought for Anthony Joshua, because really, he didn't really make any real mistakes that I think AJ could really capitalize on from what I seen anyway. But just quickly, if you are Daniel Dubois, obviously this would be the fight to take next. Now, I've seen other people talking about Martin Bakole and maybe Zili Zhang and stuff like that. Why would Daniel Dubois fight Bakole? That is a very dangerous and tough matchup for him. Yeah, it's probably going to be a Riyadh season, that fight anyway, so he would still get paid a hefty paycheck, but wouldn't get paid what he'd get paid to fight Anthony Joshua, especially now as he would be the A side going into this rematch against AJ. Plus, he's basically just steamrolled over Anthony Joshua, who is one of the biggest names in all of sports right now, and has been for a very long time. I just don't get what other options Daniel Dubois would really take. I mean, Frank Warren has done a great job with Daniel Dubois, and I can't imagine he's going to do a shit job now, so I'm sure of that those guys will know how to advise him next. But Anthony Joshua is really the logical fight. If not AJ, then what? Should Daniel Dubois sit out then and wait for the winner of Usyk versus Tyson Fury 2? Because outside of AJ, that there, in my opinion, is the only other matchup that would make much sense for Daniel Dubois. But I feel like Daniel Dubois should definitely take the rematch against Anthony Joshua, because I feel like what's really helped Daniel Dubois grow in his boxing career, especially over the past 12 months, is his activity. This guy's fought, what, 4 times in the last 13, 14 months? So the activity has definitely helped Daniel Dubois, in my opinion, and I feel like he should look to continue it. He is still young. He's only 27 years of age, and I mean, the AJ fight, you're going to make way more money. You've just beat him fairly comfortably. I mean, if he beats AJ again, that is massive for Daniel Dubois. I do feel like that's the way they're going to go, but Daniel Dubois is game to fight anybody. That is one thing you cannot take away from the guy. Now, Eddie Hearn has spoke to Sky Sports about the whole rematch situation, and this should maybe clear it up a bit more. Now, Eddie Hearn, on what he's told Anthony Joshua to do next following the Dubois KO, Eddie Hearn's advice is don't do anything until December the 21st. The Alexander Usyk versus Tyson Fury rematch. If Fury loses, it could set up a big fight versus Joshua. If Fury wins, he could take a voluntary defense against Anthony Joshua. It's still the biggest fight in the division by a mile. I hate this shit, honestly. Why? AJ can't sit out, in my opinion. If AJ doesn't go right in there and fight Daniel Dubois next in a rematch, retire. That is literally the only option I think is there for AJ. A lot of people have said, what about the Wilder fight? No. I'd kind of thought, yeah, maybe. I mean, both guys are coming off losses. It is still a pretty big fight. They are pretty big names, but no. The Wilder fight will still be there. Say he loses to Dubois in the rematch. That fight is still going to be there. The Dillian White fight, if he loses to Daniel Dubois, it's still going to be there. Those two fights are still going to be there. But for AJ to set out and see what happens against Usyk and Tyson Fury, if Fury loses this rematch, I think the Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury fight, the ship is kind of sailed on that. Now, yes, it will still be a massive fight. It could probably sell out a stadium still, but the interest won't be there really anymore, in my opinion. I feel like for AJ versus Fury to be like really what everybody makes it out to be, the biggest fight in the division by a mile, it probably still would be because they are the two biggest names, to be honest. But for that fight to really end up being like one of the biggest fights of all time, AJ has to go in there and beat Daniel Dubois in a rematch, and Tyson Fury has to beat Alexander Usyk. If that there happens, that scenario, and then you match up AJ versus Tyson Fury, that's without a doubt the biggest fight in boxing history, in my opinion anyway. In my opinion. Obviously, you've got Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather. Would it do that pay-per-view? Would it do that many pay-per-view buys? I think it might beat that. That's how big that fight could be. Now, if Joshua sits out and Fury wins, and then Fury wants to make a voluntary defense against Anthony Joshua, that is just shit. That is crap. That's such a shit idea. The only real option for Anthony Joshua now, in my opinion, if he is going to continue to fight, is rematch Daniel Dubois. If not, you've made a hell of a lot of money. You've had a great career. You've won basically every single title outside of the WBC in the heavyweight division. You're a two-time heavyweight champion. Retire. That is literally it. It's either fight Daniel Dubois next or retire. Those are the only options that AJ has, in my opinion. But let me know, what do you think is going to be next for Anthony Joshua? And as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you again in the next one.